Welcome into another edition here of the Alabama Football Report. I am your host, Chris Daughtery. Before we get into today's show, we're going to talk about some winners and losers from the first 8 games so far this season. And now, I'm not calling these guys losers. I'm just saying, kind of throughout the way that, the season has progressed and the way things have gone on, they've kind of been on the losing side of things, whether that's injuries or their play and some things like that. A lot of different things can be involved. So we're going to talk about that on today's show. But before we get into it, who has impressed you the most so far this season for Alabama? Whether that's on the offensive side of the ball or the defensive side of the ball, it could be anybody. Let me know who has impressed you the most this season for the Alabama Crimson Tide. My first winner that we're going to go into today, we're going to talk about Kaden Proctor. I think he's really been probably one of the most impressive, guys for you so far this season, the most improved player on this team. So far in 2024, he has only allowed 4 pressures. That is absolutely incredible compared to what we saw from him last year. I think, a lot of us were really worried about the fact that, he transferred to Iowa and then he transferred back to Alabama, so he missed spring, and kind of some of the offseason for, growth and development and everything like that. But I do think that him dropping a little bit of weight has really helped him just become a better overall left tackle. You look at the improvement from last year, the first 6 games, to this year, the first 6 games. It's been absolutely incredible. Now, obviously, he missed the first 2 games because of that shoulder injury so far at the beginning of this year. So we only took the games that he actually played. And man, he has been absolutely incredible. The first 6 games last year, he gave up 16 quarterback pressures. So far this year, only 4. So there's been a lot of improvement from Kaden Proctor. He allowed his first sack last weekend against Missouri, I believe it was, when he gave up that sack. So, I cannot say enough about how impressed I am with Kaden Proctor, especially these last couple games. Could you imagine really how good he would look if he got a chance to get in those first 2 games of the season? Because it does take time for offensive linemen kind of to ramp up, and you see this offensive line as a whole really starting to play better, from that Missouri game. So we'll see, kind of how the season progresses. But, man, I've been really impressed with Kaden Proctor so far this season. Winner number 2 for the Crimson Tide. Got to go with a freshman, right? I don't know if I've mentioned this to you guys or not, but Ryan Williams is 17 years old. I don't know if you've heard that. It's been absolutely incredible what we've seen from this kid so far. There was so much hype coming into the season for him. And, at the beginning of this season, kind of wanted to pump the, brakes a little bit on Ryan Williams, because you don't want to put those expectations on a kid and then he comes in and maybe he's not, living up to those expectations that everybody sets for him. It's kind of that philosophy that Nick Saban had all the time. And, man, that was probably the wrong thing to do, because this kid has been incredible for you. Had the winning touchdown against Georgia. And just every single week he goes out there and just proves why he was one of the highest rated players coming out of high school last year. And it's not just what he can do, on the receiving side of the ball. He's also got a couple chances to return some punts for you. Now, you got Cole Adams. He's going to be banged up for the next couple of weeks. Don't really know how long he's going to be out there. So is it going to be Jalen Mbakwe back there returning punts for you? Or is it going to be Ryan Williams? Look, right now he's ranked number 17 in the country among wide receivers. As a freshman, as one of the youngest kids in college football right now this year, that is, so impressive. And you look at both him and Jeremiah Smith, 2 of the best players coming out of high school, 2 definitely of the top wide receivers coming out of high school. Ryan Williams kind of got his number right now. Now, he does have one more game. They have the same amount of receptions. And if you look to what our, rivals over there on the west side of the state, Auburn, one of their top wide receivers in Cam Coleman, he's not playing so good. Now, granted, they don't have a quarterback to be able to get him the ball. But right now, Ryan Williams has more receptions and yards and touchdowns than both Cam Coleman and Perry Thompson combined. Let that sink in for just a second. Ryan Williams has just been so impressive. And honestly, I think he's probably been one of your best players on offense right now, leading Alabama as a 17-year-old in receiving yards. So if you got to pick one, you can only pick one. let me know who it would be. Type RW if you would pick Ryan Williams, or type JS if you want to pick Jeremiah Smith. Both of these kids are absolutely so much fun to watch. And, they're going to be in college for 2 more years, and then they're definitely going to be off to the NFL. So let me know who you would pick at the pinned comment of today's video. My winner number 3. I thought of this for a while. Thought about going with Jahad Campbell because he's leading the defense right now in tackles. But, man, Quandarrius Robinson, with the amount that he has been able to get on the field, really not as much as I think he should be on the field. He has been so impressive for Alabama on the defensive side of the ball. He has been very disruptive in the amount of snaps that he's been out there. 21 tackles, not, top of Alabama's charts or anything like that on defense, but he's leading the team in tackles for loss, and he's leading the team in sacks right now. And he's only played 226 snaps for Alabama so far this year, and Pro Football Focus actually graded him the highest amongst all defensive players for Alabama this year at 87.3. He's got 17 pressures so far this year. That is at a 13.3% clip. So not amazing by any means, but definitely very, very solid. I have been very impressed with Quandarrius Robinson, and even at the beginning of the year, he's and really into now too. That hurt doesn't fade away. He lost his father after one of the first 2 games, I think, of the season. So definitely one of the toughest things that you can go through. Losing a family member, especially being your dad, and still being able to go out there and play just really, really good football. I think Alabama really needs to get this kid on the field more because he is extremely, extremely disruptive when he's out there on the field. We'll get into our losers as well on the back half of today's show, but today's show is presented by Game Time. Look, guys, Game Time is the only ticketing app I use way before they were a sponsor here at the Alabama Football Report. And Game Time has a new feature now called Game Time Picks. It makes getting tickets to see your favorite teams play live even easier. Game Time Picks filters out all the fluff to show you only the incredible deals on great seats, so you don't have to waste time searching through thousands and thousands of tickets. Game Time Picks is just curation that makes it easier to save more on sports, concerts, comedy, theater, and so much more. Prices on the Game Time app go down the closer you get to the start of the event. So if you're going down there to Baton Rouge and your plan is just maybe to tailgate with some of your friends and you want to go to the game last minute, you can do that on Game Time with the lowest prices guaranteed. If you find tickets in the same section and row for less, Game Time will credit you 110% of the difference. They have all-in pricing. You toggle this feature on, and it shows you the total up front, so there are no surprise fees at checkout. They even have the lowest prices guaranteed. Game Time has the best ticket coverage as well. Your purchase is covered with the most flexible customer service policy in the ticketing industry. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app today, create an account, and redeem promo code CHATSPORTS for $20 off your first purchase. Check out GameTime.co for last-minute tickets. Terms do apply, but again, create an account and redeem promo code CHATSPORTS, CHATSPORTS, for $20 off your first purchase. That link will be in the comment section and the description of today's video. Download Game Time today. Because what time is it? It's game time. All right, we got to get to the losers side of things right now. And like I said, I'm not calling these guys losers, but the way things have worked out have kind of led them to the losing side of just things that have happened so far this year. So the first one is Jaheim Oatis. Obviously, he is not on the team anymore right now. Has elected to take a redshirt season and will transfer at the end of the season. And I'll be honest, we talked about it, a couple of weeks ago when it happened. I don't really blame him. I do think this is one of those guys that I personally thought should have been on the field a little bit more. I thought he looked like he was probably in the best shape of his life, but according to Kane Womack and some of those defensive coaches, they said he wasn't really living up to the standard and doing the things that he needed to do at a consistent level to be able to get on the field. So, you know what? If that's what they're seeing at practice, you got to give it to the coaches. They're the ones going out there and seeing him perform, 7 days a week. Only had 2 tackles this year, 1 PBU. So, it's a shame because, the first season, his freshman year, we saw a lot of very, very positive things from Jaheim Oatis. Last year, kind of, was banged up, was struggling through some things. And then this year, just wasn't able to really see the field. So it's a real shame that we're going to lose Jaheim Otis along the defensive line, but you know what? It is what it is. So let me know in the comments section, guys, who has impressed you the least so far on this team this year. It could be offense, it could be defense. Let me know who has impressed you the least and put it in the comments section for me right now. Losers number 2, I'm going to go with the running backs, and not really that they haven't performed when they've been out there on the field. It's not that. It's the fact that they haven't gotten the ball as much as I really think they should have. So far this season, I do think both Jam Miller and Justice Haynes has been really, really good when they've been able to get the ball, especially Jam Miller. I think he's still over 5 yards per carry right now. Justice Haynes, kind of hit a little bit of a wall, but last week against Missouri, both of these guys had some pretty good games. Justice Haynes, that touchdown run that he had, just absolutely, lowering the shoulder and just laying the wood to that Missouri defender, bouncing outside and making a really explosive play out of it. Right now, both of these guys combined have 19 carries for over 10 yards. So, I think when they get the ball, they're doing a very good job, but it's just the fact that they haven't gotten the ball at a consistent clip that I think a lot of us Alabama fans, run the damn ball. That's what we want to see. I do think a little bit has to do with the performance of the offensive line, but what, the play calling also is kind of, a reason for that as well. And some of it has to do with Jalen Milroe just being as good as he is running the ball for Alabama. Now, right now, he's averaging less than 4 yards per carry, but he does have 12 rushing touchdowns. And one of the best plays that you have in the playbook right now is Jalen Milroe, just a designed quarterback run out to the right, out to the left. They're usually pulling Parker Brailsford and one of those guards out there, right or left. That play has been virtually unstoppable for Alabama in the red zone. And I'm not saying that Jalen Milroe needs to run the ball less, but, maybe take away some of those read options and stuff like that. I do think that these guys are very, very good. The running backs that you have on this team are very good. You even saw that long run from Richard Young as well this past weekend against Missouri. So another really talented guy in that running back room. I think they need to get those guys more involved in the game plan. And if that means, Jalen Milroe has to throw the ball less, so be it. So let me know again in the comments section, do you guys want to see the running backs get more carries? Type Y for yes or type N for no in the comments section right now. Loser number 3 here for the Crimson Tide. I'm going to go with Keon Sabb, and this is strictly because of the injury. It's a real shame that he got injured during that Tennessee game. Really, I think that injury actually occurred during the South Carolina game. Then he went out there during that Tennessee game and, played a long time with a fractured foot, according to Greg McElroy. So that's very impressive that he was able to go out there. And you know what? It takes balls and it takes heart to be able to go out there with a fractured foot and play in a big-time game at Tennessee on the road. Props to Keon Sabb for being able to do that. But you know what? I will be a little bit critical here on Keon Sabb. First game of the season, he was really good, had those 2 interceptions. But then after that, he kind of dropped off a little bit. He's allowed 252 yards. I think he got beat kind of a lot in coverage. I know he's got the one, touchdown allowed there, but really it could be 2 or 3 if some of these quarterbacks have been able to hit some of those deep balls that they've missed on. So while I do love Keon Sabb as a player, I think he has like 2 more years of eligibility as well. So he's going to, just be able to grow and be better and better as his career progresses. But with that injury that he suffered, that's going to keep him out for a while. We don't really quite know how long he is going to be out because of that foot injury. But for right now, I'm going to put him on the losers because of that injury.